Good morning and welcome to the S&T press briefing this morning for this week's plenary. It's my pleasure to welcome our group president, Iratxe García Perez, who will now take the floor and lay out our priorities for this week. And then afterwards, it will be time for those of you online or present to ask questions. Merci, Iratxe.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much and good morning, everybody. Thank you very much indeed for joining us for this press conference. We're going to take a closer look at the plenary session for November. Obviously, these circumstances are somewhat exceptional, so I will start by discussing those issues. Last plenary, we were able to follow debates on the working methods of this parliament, and I wanted to make it very clear indeed that the current circumstances are very real for all of us, including they affect you as well as in the media. This parliament has never closed its door. This parliament has never stopped working. We have continued to fulfill our responsibilities and our obligations as a European institution. It is true that the exceptional circumstances, the context of the pandemic, the COVID crisis, has meant that we've taken some decisions vis-a-vis our physical presence, the presence of MEPs in the building, but this has not meant at any point that we have stopped working and continued to work, striving to achieve our main goals. That is, achieve a European response to the greatest crisis that Europe has faced since the Second World War. So I don't know, perhaps if you've been able to follow discussions on this question. Well, I heard a few comments in the other plenary sessions. I must stress this point. This parliament, the Socialist Group, has not stopped working for one single day. What we have tried to do is to ensure that our MEPs and our staff remain in good health. We've done this in the best possible way. We have been faced with exceptional, extraordinary circumstances, and everybody working in all of the institutions, all of our buildings. The Parliament isn't an island, but we have also implemented the necessary measures in order to guarantee the safety of those we work with. We stand at a key point, a decisive moment. It's true that for months now we've been saying that we're reaching a milestone, but now we're reaching the end of the year, and we have made considerable progress in the package of measures which we've been working on for so long now: the MFF, the rule of law, the RRF, and we have been working together as a parliament, and we hope that the council will understand just how important it is to introduce the reforms and improvements that we have called for. We find ourselves at a stalemate. The Hungarian and Polish governments are refusing to move. And of course, we do need to find a way out of this situation. Firstly, let me say that the EPP in this parliament, when they have members of parliament from those governments, the very governments which are blocking the financial agreements and the rule of law. Over the last few days, I have noticed some statements from Mr. Weber saying that if it wasn't for coronavirus, Fidesz would already have been kicked out of the EPP. But I think we've had enough excuses now. It's time to take decisions, courageous decisions, especially given the backdrop against which we're working. If not, you lose all credibility in politics. If you say one thing, but in your political family you say the opposite, you're simply not credible. We need consistency across the board. So I would call upon the EPP, if they wish to continue to defend the rule of law, then they must take the appropriate decisions. Our political group has said it very clearly indeed throughout this process the Europe we wish to see. We have said on several occasions that we cannot allow us to choose between the rule of law and economic recovery, because in order to move forward in Europe, we need both. It's not one or the other. And it's not just the parliament saying that. Our citizens are calling for it as well. We've seen a number of polls or surveys where 77% of Europeans were in favor of this legal instrument in order to support the rule of law. We've also seen this very weekend, the trade unions in Hungary and in Poland were defending this legal instrument. So I think there are more and more voices coming together calling for this. It's more and more necessary. Therefore, we hope we can find a way out of this stalemate, but it's up to the Council to do so. I note that they are working on it. And the only message I can really give to the Council, and I have done this over the last few days, the President of the Parliament last week sent out the similar message to the Council as well. This Parliament will never give up, but we will never give up on what we have achieved in the trilogue negotiations. We will not take one single step back. We have to respect 100% of the text adopted in the trilogues on the rule of law. On this basis, I hope the Council is working hard towards a way out. I hope that for 2021 we will have an MFF, we will have the RRF, and we will have the regulatory instruments we need to ensure the rule of law. This is why I said we stood at a crossroads. We're also at a very important point when it comes to Brexit negotiations. You're all very familiar with what's happening there. We find ourselves in the very last stages of negotiations. The negotiating team led by Mr. Barnier knows exactly where the Parliament stands. There can be no doubt about that. Not only is he familiar with our position, but he is working towards achieving the principles and goals that were set out in the agreement. I hope that very soon the agreement between Europe and the UK can be concluded to allow us to move forward towards establishing friendly cooperative relationships. This is what we need more than anything else, especially in this context. We've said over the last few days that this is key, and if we do have an agreement, we will have to assume our responsibilities and adopt or reject this agreement. So we're going to have to be flexible in terms of our working days, because if you look at the calendar, it's clear that not everything will be resolved before the December session. So we do have to be flexible. If we need to, we will have to organize an extraordinary plenary session. Now, on the plenary agenda, I wanted to flag up a few points. Thursday, as you know, we will be discussing pharmaceutical strategy for Europe. This is part of the health union which we wish to build. We've learned an awful lot over the last 8 months, joint purchasing of vaccines by the EU and distribution according to the needs of each country. This would be a great step forward, but it's important to build a long-term strategy as well, and to ensure the administration of medicine for all European citizens. We need a system appropriate to our needs. I'll take this opportunity to announce that the Socialists and Democrats will be organizing an online conference on the 1st of December on the Health Union. We would like to invite you all to participate. It will be an exchange of knowledge and experience, which should allow us to move forward towards a true health union as proposed by our group. Furthermore, there's a protection of collective rights of consumers. This is a priority for S&D as well. It's an effective way of protecting consumers across the EU to assert their rights against multinationals. Then the Istanbul Convention, violence against women. Tomorrow, the 25th of November, is the International Day for the Fight Against Gender Violence. Once again, the Socialists in the plenary session will take the floor to speak in support of these measures. Women are being murdered around the world simply for being women. So we have a lot of work ahead of us to ensure the fight against this is successful. We do need a commitment by all institutions. We have noted that Commissioner Dalli is working on these questions, and we really do want to keep making progress on prevention, social conciliation, the integration of female victims. And of course, we need the necessary legal institution, for which we need the ratification of the Istanbul Convention by the EU. The debate on the resolution on the right to abortion in Poland. We've talked about human rights. We've talked about the freedom of women to choose what they do with their bodies. The rights of women, if they are restricted in one country in the EU, that is an attack on the rights of women, all European women. So we want to ensure that we can use the Parliament as a spokesperson speaking on behalf of all women. This is what we are trying to do. We speak for women in third countries when their fundamental rights are attacked. Over the last few weeks, we have seen hundreds of thousands of men and women taking to the streets in Poland to defend freedom, to defend the rights of women, and we want to join our voice to theirs, calling for those women who are defending their own rights are not criminalized. That's all the issues, all the points I wanted to raise today. But of course, I am available if you have any questions for me.
Thanks a lot, Iratxe. We will see if there are questions. Yes, we have one from Tommaso Galavotti. Tommaso, please press the speak button. Yes, ciao, buongiorno.
Sí, ciao, buongiorno. Sí, buenos días. Gracias por darme la palabra.
Thank you for giving me the floor. I have a question about Italy. I've read in the Italian press that the S&D is talking to the Five-Star Movement with a view to them joining the group. Is that true? Thank you, Tommaso. I've read the press as you have, and I'm familiar with that information. And I can answer your question by saying clearly that these talks have not taken place so far. I'm the president of the group, and they would have to address me with any application, and the Five Stars have not made any application. And if that happens, our group would trigger the normal procedures that we have within our group to address that question. And we would hold the necessary discussions, and we would obviously have an exchange of views so that we can find out what the position is of the Socialists and Democrats, what the view is of our political family. And but as far as your specific question is concerned, the answer is no. Nobody has contacted me as president of the group, so no.
Are there other questions? I think that is not the case. Then I would like to thank you all. Thanks a lot, Iratxe.
Thank you.
And wishing you all a good day. Merci.
Thanks.